How's everybody doing? You had a good tour and a good lunch? I think people are still trickling in, but let's get going with the program. So good afternoon. It's my pleasure to again welcome you to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University and to this meeting of the NSF-funded Industry University Cooperative Research Center Planning Grant in Aviation and Space Data Analytics. My name is Peter Hoffman. I'm a physicist and material scientist and the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences here at ERAU. Just to tell a little bit about the College of Arts and Science here is the home of our data science program, also houses computational mathematics, human factors, aerospace physiology, engineering and space physics, astrophysics, homeland security and intelligence, global conflict studies, cybersecurity and communications. We are home to top research in a variety of areas, and our research accounts for a sizable portion of the entire research portfolio of our university. But now it is my pleasure to introduce our afternoon speaker. Robert S. Katz is an innovator and champion for cutting-edge space technology, who's worked with many government agencies and companies in areas ranging from cyberspace to outer space. He brings his extensive experience to entrepreneurs, startups, and students through his solutioneering framework. He will talk to us how to engineer entrepreneurial ecosystems for innovation acceleration. Welcome, Robert S. Katz.
Okay, another physicist and head of arts and sciences. That's a man after my own heart. Thank you so much. It's really an honor, super honor to be here among so many wonderful, esteemed guests. Oh, time. You found a better speaker. Yeah, right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, I didn't say anything wrong yet, so good reviews, I hope, right? I'm good? Okay, I want back my time. 10 seconds back on the clock. Mr. Chairman. So, as I was saying, I'm really honored, I'm still honored to be here with so many wonderful, esteemed guests. Welcome to Florida. Hope you're enjoying the wonderful weather we're here. Really a pleasure to have everybody here. And as Dr. Hoffman said, I'm really happy and excited to be talking to you about entrepreneurs. And really, everybody here is an entrepreneur. That's essentially what we're doing. We're looking at industry problems, and we're looking at how to solve those problems. We're all problem solvers. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about, and that's what we're going to talk about. So this is really among friends here. So not only am I really deep friends with so many wonderful people here at Embry-Riddle, but I taught at University of Maryland. I went to University of Maryland, so welcome my friends from Maryland. I did most of my work in the DC swamp before I came to the real Florida swamp, so from swamp to swamp. But I taught at the Maryland Fire Rescue Training Institute. I taught computer science, so I was really proud to be a Terrapin, proud to be a Terp, really excited to have Maryland be joining us here for this amazing conference. And thank you to everybody here at Embry-Riddle to make this happen. Embry-Riddle is really doing amazing things in aerospace and space, and I'm really honored to be a part of that. Special thanks to my friends from Embry-Riddle, from the University of Maryland, from New Mexico State. Special thanks to Jamie at the World Innovation Network on my team here. She's a proud, of course, Embry-Riddle alum. Where else could you find the most amazing people to be building rockets? And she helped launch Artemis at NASA. And she's working on her PhD here at Embry-Riddle. And thanks to all the Dr. Ernst, who kicked us off. He actually took most of my keynote, so that's going to be easy for me, talking about how Embry-Riddle reaches out to the industry and does an amazing job of that. Dr. Liu, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for all your hard work and bringing everybody here together. Dr. David, Ronnie, for doing an exceptional job keeping us all honest. Dr. Miller for hosting us here in this wonderful, amazing facility of hers, Dr. Rahimi for all the entrepreneurial work that he does, Dr. Henderson for having the first university be on the moon. So congratulations to him and his team. I'm sure you saw his lab upstairs. Dr. Katz, who also does amazing space ops work. And Dr. Ricardo, who is also working on a number of projects, including with Special Operations Forces, dealing with space, and Dr. Butler for his amazing leadership. So thank you so much for everybody here, and especially to Dan for bringing all these students down there for watching this historic launch. It was really an amazing event, and I really much appreciation to Dan for making that all happen. I'm happy to have online here a number of my friends in industry, known Roll IT, Zeltec, UES, just a couple of folks that are here online with me, as well as a partner of mine that I work with on a number of NASA projects. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Martina is an analog astronaut, soon hopefully to be a real astronaut, and she works extensively on the Space App Challenge with a number of centers throughout the United States. She does really an amazing job, and I'm happy to have her online with me. She's a great partner, great friend. So let's get this off the ground, or at least try to get it off the ground. Well, maybe not quite off the ground. So let's see how we can try to change that in the next 25 minutes, which I have left. So let's talk about some centers of innovation. So when you think of centers of innovation, what do you think of on the globe? Where? Europe, okay. Well, how about here in the United States? Were any centers of innovation in our country? Any cities particularly? Silicon Valley, okay. Anybody? Any else? MIT, that's where I got my start at Lincoln Labs. All right, let's look at some. Anybody know where this is? Anybody want to buy a vowel? I'll give you a hint. Remember them? That was the hotbed of innovation, right? Do you know where that is? New Jersey. That when you think of innovation, you think of New Jersey, right? That's what everybody thinks of course. How about, okay, you guys didn't do too good on that try. We'll give you a second try. Here we go. So where's this? Anybody? Oh, very good. Excellent. Oh, it says there? Oh, you're cheating. Yes, GE. And where's that? Schenectady. Again, another hotbed of innovation, right? Well, maybe. Okay. Now, no cheating this time. Anybody? I'm sorry? Oh, no. Okay, give you a hint. Where? Rochester. Again, another hotbed of technology, right? Rochester, New York. Now you guess this one. No hints on this one, right? Detroit, right? General Motors, Detroit. So all these hotbeds of innovation, right? Or maybe so. One more. Where's this? You guys should know all this. I'll give you a hint, little hint. Dayton, right. So it used to be the technology center of the world was there in Dayton. So you see, as all these industries changed, the center of innovation changed, but it left those cities behind. And why did that happen? Why did that happen? They were innovative to begin with, but then they stopped innovating, right? They got complacent. They got too satisfied. They lost that thirst, they lost that hunger, they lost that passion that we feel in this room, that all of you have the ability to continue to make sure that you don't become the next Dayton or the next Rochester. And we know we're on that path to ensuring that that doesn't happen. So look at this wall of shame. All of these companies, what's one thing they all have in common? Go ahead, sir. They're all out of business. They're all out of business, every single last one of them. But what's another thing they have in common? Pardon me? They used to be a star, exactly. Of course, he's too smart, so exactly. In fact, they pioneered their industry. Like Kodak was the first to have, they were the pioneers. Most people don't know, Wang invented word processors. Palm invented the portable device. I mean, Borders revolutionized large bookstores. So they were pioneers in the industry. They were the innovators, but then they stopped innovating and they got left behind in the dustbin on the road to the innovation superhighway. All right, one more. Where's this? Close. Close. Very close. Down the street. They're also in the garage, but before their garage, this was another garage. No. So Hewlett-Packard. So this was so Hewlett-Packard, HP, Hewlett-Packard, they flipped a coin to see whose name would be first, began in this famous garage. So essentially that entire innovation ecosystem began in this garage. Now, what were they building in this garage? So computers is what most people think. Most people think they were built, pardon me? Photocopying, no, not yet. Close. They were building oscilloscopes. They were building oscilloscopes for two major customers. One, ironically, was Disney, and two was for the government, because there was a need. They didn't just sort of cook up, oh, oscilloscopes sound nice, or let's build a computer, because nobody knew they needed computers back then. Let's build a computer and build it and see who comes. They built for a specific need. There was a specific market demand, a specific requirement, a specific customer that was either through industry or directly through the government that needed those oscilloscopes. So that's where that entire ecosystem in Silicon Valley began, from a need, from a requirement, from listening to the customers, not just sort of cooking up, oh, I have a dream, let me follow my dreams. Nobody cares about your ideas and dreams. Nobody cares. They care about problems being solved. I mean, you can follow your dreams if you want, but don't expect people to pay for it. Don't expect people to finance your dreams. Finance problem solving. So the government had problems. So anybody know where this is? So there's if you look at the hangar back there, that Moffett, did you say Moffett? Yeah, that's Moffett Field, exactly. So the government went there, the Navy went there, and then industry followed to build an industrial base to support them. And then what grew up then around then Silicon Valley, right? And then you had they had universities and academia serving and providing research to the large industry giants there and helping them solve those problems. And then from that, Silicon Valley flourished. But it didn't happen by following your dreams. It didn't happen by saying, oh, I want more dog walking apps, or I want more, more ways to order food. It came from problems that needed to be solved. And then the government came and provided infrastructure to be able to then support all those entrepreneurs that grew up from that. And this, what the infrastructure did they create? The internet. The internet, not the real highway, but the information superhighway. And then from that, right there at Moffett Field, NASA grew. And then you have Silicon Valley. So most people, when they think of Silicon Valley, what do you think of? You think of, oh, follow your dreams, entrepreneurs. I can make more cat facial recognition systems or more cat videos or something like that. But it all began on solving problems. And they have to keep it that way. We have to keep that focus on problem solving, solving what industry needs to have done, that our government needs to have done to be able to keep our country safe and keep our freedoms that we all enjoy, so that we can have companies that make dog walking apps. But basically it gets back to be able to be having the freedom to be able to do that. So let's look back at some of those companies both startups and large companies that don't exist anymore. So what were some of the reasons you think that they failed, that they collapsed? Yes? They don't solve real problems? Oh, you're cheating, you're sneaking ahead, exactly. They're not solving real problems. But that's not what they say they fail. So what they say is, oh, we don't have product market fit. Oh, we ran out of cash. Oh, we didn't have the right team. We got out-competed. We had cost issues, right? Unfriendly product. All these excuses. But all these boil down to the same thing. People don't want what you have because you're not meeting a need. I guarantee you, if there's a really hot need for what you have, like they go away. Those problems go away. The team issues go away because people would be dying to work for you to be able to help solve your problem. People would be throwing money at you, right? Because those big companies that you saw, they didn't want to go out of business. They didn't want to become extinct like the dinosaurs. They wanted to survive. So if they see that you have a way to help them survive, they'll be throwing money at you. They'll be helping provide you with team and support and infrastructure. We need to focus on solving problems. Does anybody know who he is? He said it best. He said better than I can. Frank McCovey. There's only, and out of the 7 things he said, there's only one you have to remember. Anybody know what that is? So think about problem solving. Begin with the end in mind. So you don't just build something and say, oh, they're going to come, they're going to love it, follow your passion, follow your ideas. No, you start by what's the problem I want to solve, and then you build the product, you're working, building your team, everything towards solving that problem. And we have so many problems that need to be solved. Like you don't have to invent an idea for a startup. You don't have to invent something to be entrepreneurial in, because we're so many areas that we need to protect. The world is getting so much more complex. We're becoming so dependent, overly dependent on our interconnected digital world. So these are, anybody know what this represents? So these are the DHS critical infrastructure sectors. Now, ironically, of all the critical infrastructures, the one most important to me, is space, is not part of that. I'm working on trying to change that to have it added. Not only is it not itself listed as a critical infrastructure, but how many of those existing sectors does have a dependency on space infrastructure? The majority, everything I say is a trick question, by the way, just in case you haven't figured it out. Everything is a trick question. So the majority, if not all of them. All the other sectors, in some way, shape, or form, use GPS, use navigation, use timing, use communication systems, right? Even if your communication device isn't talking through a satellite, it's somehow using a satellite in some manner. Everything that we do is interconnected by the technology that all of you are working on, working to improve. So the work you do is so critical, and listening to the problems that not just your immediate customer has, but that all of these sectors have, that you have the ability to change and to make a difference in, matters so much. Okay, next group. Who here is familiar with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals? Okay, and these are all the way across the board, from poverty to climate to land, sea, and air, but not space. So there's a missing link where we're not addressing the sustainability in our exploration of space. And again, I'm working on changing that as well. I'm proud to be part of a coalition. We're advocating at the United Nations, and we're holding some summits at the United Nations in collaboration with the General Assemblies to be able to advocate to add an 18th Sustainable Development Goal, that we say we should be focusing on the sustainability of space, but also not just of itself, but what else does space have in relation to all the others? Right, exactly. if not all of them, rely on space to be able to improve their sustainability, right? So I mean, how can you improve agriculture, improve food output without space? And more importantly, the data from space. So there's space data for every one of these sectors. There's a sensor, there's a satellite, there's an agency that is using space data to be able to improve the outcomes and the sustainability of that particular sector. There's so much data out there, it's all available, and these are the challenges for you to be able to reach out to all of these sectors and be able to make an impact on the way our families, our friends, our communities, our country will be able to live and sustain ourselves on this planet. Most of the work that we do in space is for Earth. Okay, so it all starts with a problem. And as Dr. Hoffman said, I've developed a solutioneering process to engineer solutions from the problems, working backwards, starting with the end in mind. And it involves many parts. It involves dissecting the problem, and these are techniques that we developed from my work in the intelligence community, at the CIA and other intelligence agencies, where we're dissecting problems where we have too much data, too much information, but we have to make binary decisions from all this information. And what's the community look like that we have to put together to be able to solve these problems? That's what we're here to talk about. So we have two basic categories. We have co-innovators and co-collaborators that are working together around this problem. The co-innovators are, of course, our normal pillars of government, industry, academia. I've also added a fourth one in my model called researchers. So I know there's a lot of overlap, but sometimes there's organizations that get left out of the community because people don't know where to put them because they kind of cross over into multiple ones. So I've had the pleasure, as Dan mentioned, of working at MIT Lincoln Lab and FFRDC. Is that government? Is that academia? Because it's sponsored by, it's on Hanscom Air Force Base. It's sponsored by the Air Force and DoD. It's run by MIT Lincoln Lab, but we solve industry problems. So where does it fit? People don't know where to fit it. Industry's kind of lazy, so oftentimes when we don't know where to fit something, we leave it out. So FFRDCs, how about the national laboratories? How many national laboratories do we have? We have somebody here from Sandia, one of my favorite national laboratories I've worked with extensively. So how many national energy historically, they've been called energy laboratories, but they go much broader than that. So how many do we have? 27, so almost 17, and that are part of the core, and then there's about another 20 that are extended. So I also put in that bucket the energy laboratories because they also, some are managed by government. Lockheed manages some of them in collaboration with Bechtel. Some are managed by universities. So there's combinations, people don't know where to put them. I put them under researchers, as well as the military university labs as well. So researchers are my fourth pillar under co-innovators, and co-collaborators that support those. I have capital, of course, cohorts, and catalysts. So we extend that out under capital. So all the investment, whether it's actual writing a check or it's industry supporting internally through their innovation programs or throughout their laboratory in-kind resources. Cohorts, these are alumni organizations, really important affinity groups, Society of Women Engineers, Society of Hispanic Engineers. So those particular affinity groups are part, and catalysts. So service providers, people like the, again, National Science Foundation, that we're happy to have Robin here, and we welcome her here. So catalysts as part of that co-collaborator community. And then when they work together, you have this universe that they're supporting of education, employment, equality, exploration, enterprises, and entrepreneurship. They all grow from this collaboration that we have. So we have a problem-centric approach, right? Not ideas, not follow your dreams, solving problems. We all want to be problem solvers. So then we have a rich ecosystem that builds up around it. And with that ecosystem, then we can start to launch products and be on what I call missions that matter. Be really laser focused on missions that matter. So we start out with a challenge or a problem. I'm going to use challenge because it begins with a C, but really I mean problem that we're solving. And then as we go from what people normally call cradle to grave, I don't like to think of grave, unless of course you're some of the companies on my wall of shame, but I like to think of not from cradle to grave, but cradle to commercialization. Because we start off with a problem, the problem then turns into our solution, and then as we go down the path of improving our solution, working with our community, looking at competition, looking at our connectiveness, addressing cybersecurity, creating value, crafting different models and career sourcing, eventually we'll have commercialization. And that creates sustainability of that product because you have that's a validation. People want what you have, so they're throwing money at you. And everybody here is an entrepreneur, everybody. We want that mindset to start from even before you walk into your first day of the university, that you can solve problems, and that could be something that can support you the rest of your life. Okay, now back to geography. So we said this was Dayton, Ohio, right? So what else started in Dayton? What else started in Ohio? Aviation. Any particular other aviation organization that you know of? Okay, let's switch over from Dayton to Cincinnati. A little hint, anybody? Oh, he's too very smart. Embry-Riddle started in Ohio, right? But why aren't they in Ohio anymore? Because they didn't get complacent. They didn't get complacent. They saw opportunity in Miami, right? And they moved to Miami because they saw Latin America opening up. And he said, well, how are we going to get to Latin America? I mean, we could take boats, so that's going to take a while. There's opportunity, there's a need, there's a requirement. We're going to follow that need, we're going to service that need, and the rest is sort of history. They went down to Miami, and they began to service the requirements there. They also serviced the need during wartime of being able to train our pilots and our aviators in massive numbers. They saw that need, they followed the need, they got ahead of it, they anticipated. They said, we had World War I. If there's a World War II, we hope there isn't, but if there is, we want to help our country win it. And they were proactive in being able to gear up to be able to meet that need. So we need to constantly be transforming ourselves. We need to be constantly innovating, constantly disrupting ourselves. Constantly looking at how that new technology can affect not just our solution, but also the requirements. Because evolution can do some funny things. Sir? See? So the tools that we use to get smarter and stronger are really important for building our knowledge, for building our capacity. But in addition to those tools building our capacity, they can also start to build our complacency. We don't want that evolution to turn into de-evolution. So we're all here today to make humans human again. And to we can outsource our computational capacity, we can outsource our transportation, but we can't outsource our thinking, and we can't outsource our innovation. So, back to innovation. Didn't quite get off the ground. But what did get off the ground? These were insiders. They said, oh, we're in the car industry. We can just make a car that flies. We just put a windmill on it and it's going to fly. But it didn't fly. Instead, what flew? People from the outside came in. And they said, oh, we have an idea. We have a solution. There's a need. There's a requirement. But we can solve that by thinking outside the gearbox. So that people thought they were crazy. Oh, you're bicycle mechanics. You don't know anything about aerospace or space or machining. You're not from Detroit. You're not from the car industry. What do you guys know about it? But they say, hey, there's a problem. We can solve it. And they were persistent, and they overcame hurdles, and eventually it flew. So when you're innovating, when you're looking at problem solving, the sky's not the limit anymore. So thank you very much. I really appreciate the honor of being here and getting to speak to you, but most importantly, getting to meet all of you. So thank you so very, very much. So I look forward to, in the true spirit of collaboration, I look forward to connecting with everybody here so we can continue the making the magic happen. Thank you so much.